Hey y'all, today I want to go ahead and review for the solo quiz 12.1, which will cover lessons 12.1 and 12.2. 12.1 deals with prisms and cylinders, and 12.2 deals with pyramids and cones. So we're going to go ahead and look at some examples here. Our first example is a triangular prism. And how do I know that this figure is a prism or a triangular prism? Well, these two faces here, they are right triangles, and they are facing each other. They are parallel and congruent to each other, separated by a height. So we know for sure that this is a prism, and that these two faces, which are our bases, they're right triangles. So that's very important to know. Okay, so our first thing that we're going to do is we're going to find the lateral area of this figure. The lateral area is essentially all the faces except the two bases here. So this is a base, but I want to find the area of everything else combined. That's what the lateral area is. And to find the lateral area, it's the perimeter of the base multiplied by the height. So let's write those things down. So P is the perimeter of the base, which is a right triangle, and the height, which is a lowercase h, it's the height of the prism. So let's find the lateral area. So I need to first find the perimeter of the base, which is that right triangle there, right? So here are the two right triangles. Yes, because that this face of this triangle is parallel and congruent to this face, they're both right triangles, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and draw that right triangle, and it has a 3 here and a 4 here. So what is this side here? Can't forget to draw that little right triangle there to indicate it's a right triangle. So what is this side here? Well, we have 3, 4, this must be 5. And I'm using my Pythagorean triples to figure out that missing side length there. And now that I have all of the side lengths of this right triangle, I can easily find the perimeter of the base. So it's 3 plus 4 plus 5, and that should be 12 feet. So the lateral area is equal to 12 times the height of the prism, which is 2. And remember, the height of the prism separates the two bases. So the lateral area is equal to 12 times 2, which is 24 square feet. And since I'm dealing with area, the unit must be squared. Now, let's go ahead and find the surface area of the prism. Now, the surface area is essentially the lateral faces and the two bases combined. So, the surface area is equal to the lateral area plus 2 times the area of the base. And I should have capitalized the B in base right there. Okay? Our base of this prism is a right triangle. And this capital B indicates, or it means, the area of the base. Super important. So the base of the figure is a right triangle, and I'm trying to find the area of this right triangle. Right, so what's the area formula? Well, it's A equals 1/2 base times the height. Now, not to confuse you, this H here is not the height of the prism. I'm talking about the height of this triangle that is our base, right? So it's the area of this triangle is equal to 1/2 the base of the triangle times the height of the triangle. So 1/2, the base is going to be 3, and the height of the triangle is 4, not 2. So then 1/2 of 3 times 4, that's going to be 6 feet squared. Okay, so I know what the lateral area is. I don't need to calculate that again because we already figured that out. It's 24, right? So I can go ahead and easily replace this LA with the 24. So 24 plus 2 times the area of the base. And then I'm going to calculate. I have 24 plus 12. And that's going to give me 36 square feet. Because I'm still dealing with area here. So the unit needs to be squared. So 36 feet squared. And now to find the volume, and basically what volume is, okay, so I have this prism. How much space do I have if I pour water inside of this prism? Okay, that's what volume is, or an example of volume. And to figure out the volume of this prism, we use this formula. V equals the area of the base multiplied by the height of the prism. So, area of the base multiplied by the height of the prism. Not the height of the triangle that we found earlier, the height of the prism. And remember, the height of the prism is the one that separates the two bases. Okay, so V is equal to big B, or capital B. What did we say? B is 6, right? So it's going to be 6 multiplied by the height, which is 2. So the volume is 12 cubic feet. So the volume is 12 cubic feet. And that's our answer. Alright, so now what I want to go ahead and do is take a look at this cylinder here. And it's also a prism, by the way, because it has two faces that are parallel and congruent to each other, separated by this height, 16. So to find the lateral area, it's the perimeter of the base multiplied by the height of the prism. And the base of the figure is actually a circle. So how do I figure out the perimeter of the circle? Well, the perimeter of the circle, another word for that is circumference. So I can say P in this regard is 2 pi r. So P is 2 pi r in terms of a circle. And we're multiplying this by the height of the prism. Okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at our base, which is a circle. This is not a circle, by the way. That's an oval. There you go. So we know it has a radius of 7 feet. And if I want to find the perimeter, it's 2 times pi 7, right? 2 pi r. So C equals 2 pi 7, which is 14 pi. So I have 14 pi multiplied by the height of the prism, which is 16. So then I get 14 times 16, which is 224 pi. And this is going to be in square feet. And if I want to give a rounded answer, I would multiply the 224 and the pi together, which is approximately 703.7. if we're rounding to the nearest tenth. Okay, so this is my exact answer, and this is my approximate answer. Now, to find the surface area, it's 2 pi RH plus the two bases combined, right? Surface area deals with the two bases included. So I have 2 pi RH is 224 pi. Plus 2 times the area of the base. We know that the base is a circle. The base of the prism is a circle. And I want to find the area. So it's A equals pi r squared. So pi times 7 squared. That's 49 pi. So 2 times 49 pi. So I have 224 pi plus 98 pi. And just like I'm combining like terms, if I have 224 pi with 98 pi, if I combine those two, you get 322 pi feet squared. And that's my exact answer. And if I want to give a rounded answer, it would be approximately 1011.6. Okay, so 1011.6 feet squared. Okay? And then the volume is big B multiplied by the height. We already know what the area of the base is. It's 49 pi. And you multiply that by the height of the prism, which is 16. So 49 times 16 is 784, and you slap on the pi, and you're dealing with volume. You're going to put cubic feet, so cubic feet, which is, let's see, if I multiply 784 with pi, that's 2,463. And then I'm going to truncate everything else because there's a 2,463.006 or 864. We're going to leave that. Leave everything after the decimal alone. So feet cubed is my answer. And then we're going to go ahead and move on. We see that this is a cube. And how do I know that this is a cube? Well, its base is a square. And basically a cube is just a three-dimensional figure where all the faces are squares. So this is a cube. So the area, the base of the figure is a square. And how do I know that? Well, these two faces here, the top and bottom, are parallel and congruent to each other, separated by the height. And we can also say the front and back side of this figure. They are also bases and separated by this height here. So you can basically choose your adventure if you want. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the front face and also the back face, and I gotta use a different color for this one. And it's separated by the height here, which is 3. Okay, so not to confuse you all, it's a cube, so all the sides should have the same dimension. So this is 3 feet, that's 3 feet, that's 3 feet, that's 3 feet, and I think you get the picture here. It's a cube. Okay, so starting off with our lateral area, it's the perimeter multiplied by the height, and our base of the figure is a square. So 3, 3, 3, 3. So that should be 12. Right? If I'm adding up all the sides here, the perimeter of the base is 12. And then the height of the prism should be 3. So we have 36 square feet. The surface area includes the two bases. So it's 36 plus the area is equal to side squared, or you can say base times height, it doesn't matter. And that's going to be 9. The area of the base is 9. So 2 times 9 goes here. 2 times 9 go here. And then we have 36 plus 18. And that's going to be 54. So 54 square feet. And the volume is the area of the base multiplied by the height of the prism. We know that the area of the base is 9 and the height of the prism is just 3. So it's 27 cubic feet. Now I want to go ahead and take a look at this square pyramid. How do I know that this figure is a square pyramid? Well, all the faces except one are triangles, right? So we can see that this face is a square because all the sides are congruent to each other. But everything else are triangles. So putting everything together, what we're seeing right now is a square pyramid. So let's go ahead and find the lateral area of the square pyramid. The lateral area is equal to 1/2 the perimeter of the base, which is a square, multiplied by the slant height. And we use cursive lowercase l to indicate slant height. And one thing to note that the height and the slant height are two different segments here. This is not the slant height, that's just the height. It's a straight segment. It's the altitude. This right here is the slant height. So that's our goal when we're trying to find the lowercase l. Okay, so we're going to find the perimeter of the base. I'm going to go ahead and write that down. This is the perimeter of the base, which is a square. That's not a square. That's still not a square. Okay, we'll go along with that. That's our square. And then we're going to multiply that by our slant height of our prism. Okay? So let's find the perimeter of the base, which is our square. So as we can see over here, all the sides are congruent to each other, and we know that one of the side lengths of that square is 11. So 11 inches, if that side is 11, everything else is 11. So the perimeter of the base is 44. And then we're going to multiply that by our slant height, which we don't know yet. Again, this is our slant height. Okay, so let me go ahead and use a highlighter to show that what we're dealing with right here is a right triangle. Okay, we have from the center to one of the sides, and then that's our height here. It's 15, and then this is our slant height. And note that we have a right angle over here. We're dealing with a right triangle. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and draw that right triangle over here. We know that the height is 15. And then from here to here, well, we know that this side is 11. So if it's from the center to one of the side lengths, then that's basically half of 11. That's 5.5. So what's the slant height? We're going to use lowercase l to find the slant height. And because we're dealing with a right triangle here and we know the two-side length, that means we're going to be using the Pythagorean theorem. So it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A is going to be 5.5 squared plus b, which will be 15 squared. And then c is going to be l, so l squared. I'm going to take the square root on both sides. So I'm going to input the square root of 5.5 squared plus 15 squared. And I'm going to round that to, I have 15.97, so that's going to be 16. So the slant height is going to be approximately 16. Okay, so I will put 16 right here, and then I'm going to proceed to multiply everything. So that's going to be 352 square inches. And then the surface area is the lateral area plus, well, how many bases do we have here? Well, we only have one, so instead of putting 2 times the area base, I only put 1, because we only have one base here. The lateral area is 352. And the area of the base, well, it's a square, right? So area of the base is side squared, because we're dealing with a square here, so it's s squared, or you can say base times height, it doesn't matter. And 11 squared is going to be 121. So plus 121. The surface area is 473 square inches. And that's your answer for surface area. Then lastly, let's go ahead and find the volume. The volume is 1/3 big B multiplied by the height of the prism. Luckily, we know what the area of the base is. We said it's 121. And the height of the prism, not the slant height, is 15. So I'm going to put that all together here. It's 121 times 15 divided by 3, which is 605 cubic inches. Remember, volume, you need to cube your units. Okay, so remember, when you're dealing with volume, your unit must be cubed. Alright, so now our last problem for today, we're going to be dealing with a cone. And it should be obvious that this is a cone. Because, you know, ice cream cone. We're going to go ahead and find the lateral area of this figure. And then we're going to find the surface area and the volume. The lateral area formula is pi RL, and the surface area is pi RL plus the area of the base. And then lastly, the volume is 1/3 times the area of the base multiplied by the height. So, the lateral area is pi RL. So what's the base of the figure? It's typically a circle when you're dealing with a cone. So the base of the figure is a circle. And we know it has a diameter of 15, but the radius is 7.5. Alright, so Okay, it's 7.5. So I can go ahead and do this. Pi times the radius is 7.5, and then the slant height, this is not the height, these are the slant heights. Alright, so let me do this, because I can see we're dealing with a right triangle here. Okay, so, where should I put this? Should I put it over here? Okay, there we go. We have a right triangle, this is 15, and then from here to here, that should be 7.5, and this is the slant height. And I'm going to use Pythagorean theorem to figure this all out. We're dealing with a right triangle with these two given side lanes, and this is the hypotenuse, so it's 7.5 squared plus 15 squared equals slant height squared. And I'm going to take the square root, and then I'm going to input all of that. You get approximately, so the slant height is approximately 16.8. Okay, so let's leave in terms of pi. So I'm going to do 7.5 times 16.8. That's approximately 126 pi centimeters squared. Or if you're multiplying with the pi, it is 395.8 centimeters squared. But, you know, just thinking about this right now, most likely when you're dealing with a base that's a circle, you're going to be leaving your answer in terms of pi, okay? Most likely. So, but it's just safe that you know how to do both. Knowing how to leave your answer in terms of pi and giving the rounded answer. Okay, now the surface area is equal to, well, we have the lateral area, it's pi r L. So if we're including the base, the surface area is equal to pi r L plus the area of the base. So it's going to be 126 pi plus the area of the base. The area of the circle is equal to pi r squared. So pi times 7.5 squared right there. You get 56.25 pi. Okay, so 56.25 pi. And you're combining like terms here, so it's going to be 182.25 pi square centimeters, which is approximately, if you're going to multiply that by pi, 572.6 centimeters squared. And then the volume is 1/3 big B multiplied by the height. So it's going to be 1/3 times the area of the base, which is 56.25 pi. And then the height is just 15. Okay, remember, this is the straight segment here, it's 15. And then this is the slanted segment, that's the slant height. So two different things. This is the height. Okay, so you're going to do you're going to do 1 divided by 3, or you're going to put parentheses 1 divided by 3 multiplied by parentheses 56.25 pi. Nope, just kidding, don't put the pi in. Multiplied by the 15, and you should get 281.25 pi. And it doesn't look like an approximate answer, so I'm going to put equals there. Okay, Now, putting or including the pi this time, you will get 883.6 cubic centimeters. And there you go.